completely blew my stereotype of what it meant to be Israeli and Jewish. And I was just fascinated by it. I was like, wow, this is a really interesting group, and the whole story is so compelling. The music is so entrancing and beautiful. And so Idan and I started working together and introducing his music to the world. And it's been really an amazing process for both of us, and just fascinating to see what an impact it can have, because, you know, I think the whole message of the project is that we're all people. We're all, you know, we're all trying to live happy, joyous lives. And, you know, we can work together, and through working together and through making music together, or through working in factories together, however we work together, we'll learn that, yes, we have our differences, but really we have so much in common, and that we should just learn to respect and appreciate what makes us different, but also respect what makes us so much the same. So It's a really inspiring project.
It is, and it seems the other piece about many of your projects, and certainly that one and Andy Palacio's, was, you know, food and music seem to be the thing that sustain cultures.
Yeah.
And these are ways, not only are you bringing, you know, breaking down some barriers, you're also helping us to keep from losing certain cultures.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned Andy Palacio, and Andy Palacio comes from Belize in Central America. He's part of a community of people called the Garifuna, which is a very special culture that I had discovered when I was doing field work for myself, I discovered in Central America when I was in college. And they are the descendants of 2 ships of African slaves that shipwrecked off of a Caribbean island, and the survivors went off into the jungles of the island and intermarried with the local Carib and Arawak Indians. And they had a free slave community that fused both Native American, Native Caribbean traditions and African traditions. Eventually they were captured in a war by the British and shipped off to the coast of Central America. They've had a lot of tragedy in their history, and they now live in Guatemala, Honduras, Belize, and some part of Nicaragua. And it's an amazing community, but it's also, like so many subcultures, struggling to retain their language, retain their traditions, in the face of both discrimination at home as well as globalization and just the forces of the world. You know, so many of them go off to live in other parts of the world, and they're really struggling to retain it. And Andy himself, his whole musical career has been about how to use music to keep this culture vibrant and to get younger people excited about it. And the first part of his career was really focused on creating pop, dance, party music. But recently, and I've known him since those days, the way I met him and his producer was through Putumayo, including him on some Putumayo compilations. And his producer and I became friends, and I knew that they were working on this amazing new project, which was basically how to explore the roots of Garifuna music, yet make it something that would be accessible to a modern generation. And this record has been so well received all over the world. And even before we released it, we sort of predicted that this could happen, that sometimes it takes the respect from the outside world to get people at home to truly respect what they have. You know, when people start to see, oh, wow, he's winning all these awards, everybody loves this record, maybe there is something of value in our language and in our music and in our traditions that we didn't fully appreciate or recognize. You know, we were putting ourselves down for not being this way or not being that way. And I was just in Belize a couple of weeks ago. And it was a magical experience just to see how this album has impacted people at home. You know, it's really made an impact on the preservation of the tradition, the old people, the young people. Everybody's excited about it. And so it's very fulfilling, you know, to be part of that.
Yeah, really making things happen. And I guess he was here this summer.
Yeah.
Right, as part of your world music series at Higher Ground in South Burlington. So you're also bringing some of these artists and other artists here to Vermont.
Yeah.
How is Vermont responding, and how do the artists like coming here?
Well, I knew Vermont would respond very well. I mean, when I was growing up here, I used to go to concerts at the Metronome or Higher Ground, and they would have world music artists come through, and they were always great shows, and I knew that there was interest. I knew there was an audience. I knew there was a public for it here. And so I went to the folks at Higher Ground. I said, well, you know, how come you don't produce more world music stuff? And they're like, we love world music. We just have a hard time getting the word out. We have a hard time getting the audiences out. You know, it's not our general public. We don't do special promotions, you know, for that type of music. And I said, well, First of all, let me bring Putumayo into this. You know, there's a lot of people who know Putumayo. Let me bring my label, Cumbancha, which is starting to get recognized locally. Help provide ways for people to take a chance on some artists they might not specifically know by name, but they know that it's going to be good.
Right.
And so I've really focused on bringing exceptional artists who are top tier out there in the world music world.
Yeah.
They may not be famous yet, but we've had incredible response, incredible turnout for the shows, and it's been a great, great success. And you know, just a lot of fun. I mean, I'm doing it for fun. There's no other motivation except...
As if you don't have enough to do.
Yeah, I've got plenty to do, but I really want to, you know, these artists are out there. They're looking for opportunities, and this is just a way for me to be involved with the community and make connections with people here. And that's been one of the joys of it is, you know, now I'm meeting people at the shows and reaching out and making a lot of local connections. It's really great.
Well, let's listen to a cut from this album that has done so well, Andy Palacios' album. We wish your label, Cumbancha, more wild success.
All right, thank you.
Jacob Edgar, thank you so much for joining us on Profile.
Thanks for having me.
And you can find out more about Cumbancha, links to that, and Putumayo on our website, www.vpt.org. I'm Fran Stoddard. Thanks for joining us. Immediately. So if